Do I look at the camera? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, you can look at the camera. You can do it if it's natural too, but...
I like looking at Apple devices. Makes me feel important. Just kidding.
Geoff.
Yes.
What year were you born?
1975.
How old does that make you?
40-something. And that makes me 40, I think that's 43, and I'll turn 44 in February. Is that right? Because it's 2019, so that would be 44. Yeah, 44. I'm almost 44. I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana. Apparently, well, my parents lived in some apartment, but I have no memory of that because we moved when I was just a few months old to a farmhouse in Indianapolis, like, you know, on the outskirts of Indianapolis. And we lived there, and I lived there till I was 4. And we were semi-wild in that environment. And my parents said that they were afraid to move to a decent neighborhood because my brother and I had grown accustomed to peeing outside down the trees. So they had to train us to be civilized humans. Apparently farm life took well to us. Then we moved to the real suburbs. We lived in a neighborhood in Zionsville, Indiana, which is a suburb, kind of a boring, drab suburb of Indianapolis, which is itself maybe not the most exciting city in the world. And my dad was an anesthesiologist, a doctor, and my mom was a nurse. When I was a kid, I said she was a baby nurse. Turns out she was like a neonatal nurse, but she quit her job when I was maybe about 5 and became a stay-at-home mom. Took care of my brother and sisters and I. There were 2 big things I did with my mom that I really felt like it was like me and her and like our time together. And one of them was making cookies and one of them was planting flowers. So I still make cookies, but I don't plant flowers because it's too hot in Phoenix to go outside and plant flowers. Well, I went to Zionsville High School in Zionsville, Indiana, and I was a very, very bad student. And I met your mother when I was 15. She was 14. She was a freshman in high school. I was a sophomore. We were in the same history class because I was in the most sort of remedial sort of classes and she was in the advanced classes. So that meant that freshman history lined up with sophomore history for us. She was sort of kind of did her own thing. And I thought she was pretty cool and pretty interesting and pretty funny and pretty zany. She was pretty wild and crazy. She was a little like Sophia Coffee, if you've met her. Like kind of a little bit nuts. We were in Spanish class together. And then we kind of became friends. Like we got pretty close. We sat next to each other in Spanish and we hung out a lot and chatted a lot and had a lot of conversations and you know, we're pretty much silly like kids are. So when I was like 10 years old or something, my parents went to the store and it turns out it was a computer store. It really just looked like they sold like desks or something because all it was like a bunch of office equipment, but apparently they sold computers as well. And they bought a computer, an Apple II Plus computer, and they brought it home and set it up in my dad's office. I don't really know what they were intending to do with it. Mostly they didn't do anything with it, but my brother and I played with it. And then we got this book called 1001 Things to Do with My Apple, a book about programming, BASIC, the programming language called BASIC, B-A-S-I-C. And in case you don't know how to spell BASIC. Well, one of the first things I made was this like fun little game where it would ask you questions. It's sort of like the Akinator, but like a really dumb version of it. And we made a snake game like they have on Nokia phones, which you guys are all still too young for, even that. And just lots of fun stuff. And I just really thought it was fun. It was like my favorite thing to do with that computer was to write programs. I always kind of lamented years later that computers became so complex and advanced, and there's a lot of wonderful things, you know, but they were so much more immediate when I was a kid. You didn't even have to create a file or a project or anything. Like you could literally, on the command prompt of an old Apple computer, just start writing lines of code and then run them, and it would work. Hi, cat. Would you like to see a butthole class?
Back to programming. You can keep him.
I don't even like him. Later, we got a Macintosh computer, a Mac Plus, and it was great. And I played in HyperCard a lot and learned that programming language called HyperTalk and kind of self-taught that.
So I was really into computers, and I really liked to program computers, and then I thought maybe I would be a computer programmer for a job. I was a little bit like thinking maybe that was a cheat because it was too much fun. I don't know, it's a stupid thing. Kids are dumb, basically. All you children out there are stupid. But I did go to college. After I graduated high school, I went to Purdue University. Just barely got in because I was not a good student. I mean, I got A's in science for the most part, and C's and everything else. I got A's in things I was interested in, is what it came down to. And I was really, really bad at putting any time and effort into things that I'm not interested in. I'm sort of still that way. I just happen to have a job where I'm interested in it, so it's fine. I went to Purdue University. I hated everything about it. I got like C's in all my classes the first semester, and then by the second semester, I pretty much stopped going to my classes and dropped out. And was home for like a week. I was like, told my parents I'm not going back. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm leaving. And so I moved to Arizona.
Why did you move to Arizona?
Oh, maybe your mom's family had moved here since then, and so I just came here to be nearer to her and to sort of start over, figure myself out on my own without the tyranny of parents telling me what to do and judging my every move and stuff like that. Then I thought, I don't want to do programming. I don't know why I really thought that, but I just thought I didn't. I thought I would do psychology instead. So I did psych. I was a psych major for a couple of years, and then after a couple of years, I switched back to computer science, and then I stayed with it from that point forward. Finished at Northern Arizona University. I went there for a job. I always liked working better than school. This is a terrible video to show classmates and students. And then the company that I went to work for went out of business, so we were stuck in Flagstaff. And I wasn't gonna transfer again because it was gonna slow me way down, so I just stuck it out and finished it, and I did a bunch of contract work and went back and forth to support my family. I was married then to your mother, and we had Isabel by then, and so that last year of college, we had Isabel at home, and I was kind of working in Phoenix and going to school in Flagstaff and bouncing back and forth, and then graduated and went and got my first like real programming job working in Idaho for a company called Micron doing systems programming, and then came back to Phoenix, and you know, I've had various jobs ever since then, but doing programming and always loved it. I love it a lot. It's my favorite thing.
And do you love your family or your work more?
Probably my work. Well, I mean, actually, if I were to rank it, it would be your mom, and then your sister, and then my work, and then you. No, nonsense. I love my family to pieces, and I try to strike that balance. Hopefully, I take good care of my family. They certainly take good care of me. I've been at Apple for 4 years now. It's been absolutely a dream come true. I was a little bit worried about going to work for Apple because there's a reputation of these big Silicon Valley companies of being kind of a meat grinder, you know, and I'm too old for that, and I have a family. Like, I want to do my job, and then I want to come home and spend time with my kids and spend time with my wife, and I want to have time to cook, and I want to, you know, have time to do the things that I enjoy. And also, you know, I've been an Apple fan. Like, I use their devices and stuff for a long time, and sometimes it's not so great to work inside a place that, you know, that you also are a customer of. But in practice, it's been great. Like, the team that I work for is very respectful of everybody's time and very determined to make sure that everybody has a good home life. And so it's a really positive environment. I love it. Am I happy? I mean, I feel a little guilty about saying this. I think I'm the happiest person I know. Like, I genuinely look forward to every day. And I always feel a little bit excited about what this day has to hold, and, you know, whether it's something I'm working on at work, or whether it's because you and I are gonna do a cooking project, you know, that day, or whether you're gonna embarrass me by making me do this stupid video, or whatever, you know, I always feel excited. I feel like amped up in the morning and like excited to get out of bed, like really excited to get out of bed. I find an odd degree of joy in the repetition of just having a routine and having life be sort of normalized. You know, I love my family. I feel like my kids are awesome. You know, my family's awesome. I have a good wife. I have a good life. I have a good job. Sometimes a little extravagant, like programmers these days are so in demand that, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I'm like lucky all the time, just lucky all the time. Everything just is fine and good. And I don't think I would change a thing. All right, let's do it. There's a blanket on the floor.
Yeah, I know. We can ignore that.
Somebody should ask the cameraman to clean up their messes. How do I look? Wait, hold on. Let me put my pocket corner in.
Time to record Geoff's life.
Alright, let's stop this nonsense. Do we have to do this? I really don't want to do this. Let's do this for real and let's delete all the footage that's happened so far because it's embarrassing. No, but I mean, it's fun to get a new car, right? It's
Okay.
always kind of
Yeah.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you're a kid, it's like, ooh, new car, yay, it smells weird. Are we done with this thing?
Yeah.
Or are you going to make me do more?
No, I'm done.
Alright, good.